Board members, staff, friends, family, and fellow students, welcome to the 2020 graduation ceremony for Next Charter School. Yeah. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for being here to share this special and unique event with us. Although this has been an unusual year, we're excited to celebrate the achievements of our graduates here today. Before the ceremony begins, I need to remind you about the rules. Please remain in your designated parking space throughout the ceremony. Please remain at least 6 feet away from other members of groups. If you need to use the restroom, please travel to the nearest bathroom without passing through any of the other group's parking spots. Bathrooms are located at the rear of the parking lot and to my left. Please wear a mask anytime you leave your parking spot. Each graduate will be called to the stage individually in the order listed in the program. When the graduate is on stage, we welcome one member of that graduate's family to come up front and take some pictures. We have a clearly marked spot right over there, a little square taped out spot for you to stand. You'll be able to get some great pictures of them coming up to the stage, coming back, and when they're on stage. Throughout the ceremony, Doug Rathburn, a professional photographer, will be taking photos of the graduates and staff. These photos will be posted online and available for free download after the ceremony. You can find the link to Doug's page in your program. Doug's the best, so we want to thank him again for photographing our ceremony. He does it every year. So as you hopefully know, the ceremony is also being recorded and live streamed by the Derry Community Access Media, or DerryCAM. You can find the DerryCAM website in your program. And I want to thank Owen Preventure and the rest of the staff at DerryCAM for making this happen so people at home can watch this too. So thanks, Owen. Thanks, DerryCAM. At the end of the ceremony, the students will recess out. We'll be requiring that they go directly to their personal vehicle or to their family's vehicle without stopping to mingle and talk with other groups. We ask that guests pack up their belongings and get inside their vehicles as soon as the ceremony is finished so that we can abide by the rules established by Tupelo Music Hall. Their permit for this event is contingent upon these rules, so it's incredibly important that we follow them. In the past, staff and students and families would gather and pose for pictures after the graduation ceremony. This year, we are unable to do this, so we ask that you have your family celebrations and your picture taking somewhere more private and off the property at Tupelo. The staff will also walk out behind the students, and we will, out of respect for the rules that Scott and the staff at Tupelo have here, we will also be exiting pretty quickly after the ceremony so we don't create a mass crowd here. Before we begin, I also want to thank Scott Hayward and Paul Higgins and the entire staff at Tupelo Music Hall for allowing us to be here today. We weren't sure how to make this happen, but Scott stepped up and helped us to design a solution. As many of you know, Next Charter School is different. Today we've tried to adapt our ceremony to have a mix of tradition and also the culture at Next. And this marks our 5th graduating ceremony, our 5th graduating class, and this is our largest graduating class. I see some former Next graduates, some alumni out there in the audience, so it's pretty great to see you guys. So I would now like to introduce the most important people here today. Please join me in welcoming the 2020 Next Charter School candidates for graduation. I present to you the 2020 Next Charter School graduating class. All right, students, you may be seated. Students, if you didn't notice, there's water under your chair. Thank Ms. Woodis. I would now like to introduce to you our first graduate, Daniel Jordan Clements. Jordan, please join me on stage. Jordan, I am so delighted to be here today to present you with your high school diploma. I know I have shared some of these sentiments with you in the past, but I want to make sure you hear them again, because my influence over you is quickly fading. One of our goals when we set out to start Next Charter School was to create a community where people took care of each other and treated each other with kindness and compassion. Sadly, sometimes this isn't always the case in large traditional schools, but creating a caring community is more difficult than it sounds. In order for this to happen, we needed to find students who bought into these ideas. When you joined us in the fall of 2016, you didn't know many students, but you immediately made a huge impact on all of us. You approach all people with a degree of kindness and genuine care that is uncommon. Your compassion for your fellow students and the staff has touched all of us. I can't think of anyone who doesn't count Jordan Clements as a friend. Although you have many special qualities, this is perhaps the most important gift you have provided to our community. Since it is customary for teachers to give some small bit of advice to graduating students, I will do my best to share some today. You are an ideal candidate for real-world learning because you are naturally curious and open. I encourage you to seek out additional learning opportunities that will pair you with mentors from whom you can learn. This isn't to say that I want you to quit your job at Subway. Man's got to eat. But I think you should seek experiences that allow you to learn from masters, because you are, in many ways, like a sponge, ready to absorb all that is around you. I can honestly say that I have admired you from the moment we first met, but I'm also really proud of the man you have become. Jordan, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this Next Charter School diploma. Congratulations. I would now like to introduce you to our next graduate, Judah Graves. Judah, please join me on stage. Judah, it doesn't seem possible that you and I met 4 years ago. When I think back to that Judah, I remember a little boy, barely 13, who seemed a little unsure of himself and openly admitted to hating math. Since that first meeting, we have had many other opportunities to talk together, sometimes just the two of us, and many times with your parents as well. I can honestly say that I'm going to miss those conversations. Luckily, I still get to hang out with your parents. Recently, I told you that I thought you were the perfect mix of a kid and an adult. and I want to elaborate on what I meant. Although you are bigger than most adults I know, you possess inside of you a childlike curiosity and engagement that is infectious. When I see you get excited about something, whether it be making a really cool homemade costume for Halloween or walking around on stilts, I feel like a little kid again. But I've watched you navigate the world of high school with a level of thoughtfulness, sense of self, and grace that is wholly uncommon in the teenage world. So in a way, I guess I'm saying you're both too young and too old for your body. I think this balance has made you a really wonderful human being. I guess I should give you some advice now, but it isn't easy. You are good to the core, but I'm not sure you realize how your character can shape and influence those around you. I encourage you to use your kind, approachable, and just nature to nudge those around you to do what is right. I believe this is a burden that you can bear. Judah, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. I would like to introduce our next graduate, Cameron Whitney. Cam, please join me on stage. Hi, Cam. Cam, this is a bittersweet moment for me. I am so happy for you and for your family, but I'm tremendously sad to see you go. Perhaps it is fitting that you arrived at Next in 2016 during the most unusual presidential election in modern history. And you leave Next as we are in the throes of yet another bizarre, seemingly fictionalized political environment. As you and I are both political animals, these are exciting and unsettling times. I will miss talking with you about our larger world and listening to you expand upon the failures of capitalism. And while I sometimes joke with you about your political ideology, I cannot overstate how proud I am of you for your commitment to your fellow human beings. I believe that behind your passion lies a real desire for equality, justice, and compassion for each and every person. These are noble causes, and you should not abandon your ideas simply because it might seem like no one is listening. I am confident your voice will serve us all well. Cam, you and I have talked a lot about searching for ways to enact real, substantive change in this world. And I want to remind you that when people of goodwill, even those with differing perspectives, come together, anything is possible. I was going to give you a good presidential quote here, but I'm going to save that for later in the program. Instead, I want you to consider the words of primatologist and anthropologist Jane Goodall. You ever heard of Jane Goodall? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I thought you would. She said, "Lasting change is a series of compromises, and compromise is all right as long as your values don't change." Your values, Cam, are solid and earnest. I can't wait to see what you do with them. Cam, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Okay, you've had to listen to me for a little while, so I am going to introduce our next presenter. Please welcome Molly Qualters.
I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Michael Bierce. Michael, please join me on stage. Michael, I wholeheartedly congratulate you on your high school graduation. You have made me and so many others proud. Graduating from high school is one of the great milestones in life that you have earned through your hard work, determination, and a little support from family, friends, and all the people at Next. After I said that I would be honored to speak about Michael at his graduation, I felt tremendous pressure to come up with a great speech. I searched for an illuminating quote that I could apply to Michael that would reveal what an amazing person he is. I searched words like inner strength and hard to get to know. I tried to think of some story that would show Michael's good character. I struggled to find something that was truly representative of Michael. I've decided to just tell you about what I know of Michael. Michael is challenging to get to know. He would much rather spend time on his computer than have a conversation with you. But if you do spend time with Michael and can get a crack in that outer shell, you find a very inquisitive, intelligent, and funny person who, if he considers you a friend, will defend you. Michael can be very stubborn. I'm thinking back to various math classes, just trying to have Michael get the work done. Cookies may have helped facilitate the process. But Michael, when you finally did the work, you excelled at it. Michael, you can accomplish whatever you want to do in the future. When you believe in yourself and give things a try, you are successful. I'm so glad that I've had the opportunity to get to know you, and I'm proud to see you graduate from Next. All right. Go. Michael, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. I would like now to introduce you to our next presenter, Karen Woodis.
I would like to now introduce our next graduate, Olivia Beauregard. Liv, please join me on stage. Hi, Liv. Thoughtful, kind, helpful. These are words that come to mind when I think of Olivia Beauregard. Last week, as I sat cleaning my desk, I thought of how many times you had offered to help me organize it. I sat there mulling over what to say about you, Liv, and because I seemed to save everything, I noticed a drawing that you had made for me, then a few little notes that you had left for me, and it made me think of how many people at Next you must have touched with your encouraging notes. They were usually only a few words on a Post-it, usually anonymous, but for me, and I'm sure others, they really meant a lot. You began at Next 3 years ago as a non-Derry student. I don't think you knew anyone. You are leaving having left an indelible impression on the Next community. It has been a joy getting to know you and see that big smile every day. Liv, hang on to that wonderful spirit of yours. Your thoughtfulness, kindness, and helpfulness will be your best assets as you move on to what's next. Olivia, it is with great pleasure that I present you with the Next Charter School Diploma. Me too. I would like to now introduce to you to our next presenter, Scott Saucier. Oh.
We're good. All right. I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Michael Bertolucci. Michael, please join me on stage. Michael, you probably don't remember, but you were the first student that I met on my very first day at Next on September of 2017. I had no clue what to expect, to be honest, going into the school, but I still remember how welcoming you were to me that day. Over the years, you've had a huge part in bringing positive energy to the school. Like I said before, you're extremely welcoming and would give the shirt off your back to any of your friends. In fact, back in February, when we were at Next, I was out in the common area scrambling, trying to get ready for my next class. I was balancing my notebooks, my laptop, my projects, and my coffee all on top of that. And you probably remember this. I hope you do at least, because this is an awesome thing about you. And all of a sudden, I was already a couple minutes late to that class, and my coffee fell right off my notebook onto the ground, completely spilling everywhere. I would have been a few more minutes late, and I mean, it's not the end of the world, but Michael, you came running across the common area without any call, and you offered to clean that up for me so I could go to class. It's little things like that that show people who they really are. So Michael, that's awesome, man. Empathy is something that I believe runs deep within you. Some days are obviously better than others for all of us, and we should always embrace the journey no matter what, whatever challenges come our way. But you already have a key piece to that puzzle, Michael. You care about others. You have so much untapped potential, Mikey, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you over those last 3 years. Michael, it's with great pleasure that I now present you with your next charter school diploma. I would now like to introduce you to our next presenter, Ms. Kim Crowley.
I'd like to introduce you to our next graduate, Nicole Dow. Nicole, please join me on stage. So Nicole, if I were an animal, I would like to be one of your pets. It wouldn't matter if I was an iguana or a golden retriever. You'd accept my scaly skin or my shaggy fur and lavish me with care and love. This is who you are. To every creature and every person you encounter, you are genuinely kind, giving, and supportive. You are also hardworking and committed. If, as your iguana, I developed uroliths, which are bladder stones, you would learn everything there is to know about this strange condition, nurse me through surgery, adjust my diet to just the right balance of protein. As your dog, you'd take me on lots of hikes, and if we encountered a bear, you'd fearlessly protect me and lead me to safety. However, I'm not your pet, but I am just as fortunate to have been your advisor and teacher these last 2 years. During this time, I've admired how you adapt your style and approach to suit the uniqueness of others around you, to bring out their best and overlook their faults. You are not afraid to see yourself for who you are and to work steadily to overcome challenges. Life beyond next will have trails that go up and those that go down, but I know you'll always find comfort and joy in those you bring with you and in those fortunate to meet you along the way. Nicole, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our next graduate, Hannah Freitas. Hannah, please join me on stage. So Hannah, let's review some high school data. You attended high school for 3 years. You earned 26.5 credits, which is 6.5 more credits than what's the 20 required for a New Hampshire high school diploma. You met 159 competencies, 36 more than what is required to graduate from next. You earned your LNA license at age 17, and in the last 9 months, you've worked nearly 200 hours as a registered LNA. Yeah. Hey, these facts are impressive. More impressive is how quietly you achieved your goals. Your capstone manifesto included this statement: I will work on me, for me. True to your word, your standards have been your own, and even when others saw them as unrealistic or unattainable, you persevered for yourself and oftentimes by yourself. At times your vision and plans needed adjusting, and that was hard. But you developed flexible thinking and demonstrated bravery when facing the unknowns. At times you needed to put aside your valued independence to seek support from others. You did so with an open mind and a grateful heart. When you moved to Florida to attend college in the fall, I know you'll bring the same certainty of mind and focus to your work. Just remember, pace yourself so that you can savor all the new experiences you've created and seek good people to share it all with. Hannah, it's with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. I would like to introduce you all now to our next presenter, Rob Aquilina.
Hello, everyone. I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Dylan Fortin. Dylan, please join me on stage. I'd like to talk for a minute about speeding. Because you are someone who likes going fast. I have seen you beat just about everyone sprinting down the soccer field. I've seen you finish in the top 3 of a 5K. I've watched how quickly your hands move while shadowboxing. In your first year, you raced through science classes. And, of course, well, there's lots of ways that you like going fast. But I think if you ask around, most people who like to go fast will talk about control. Sprinters know which toe will leave the ground last. Race car drivers know the right fraction of a second to drop the hammer. Bruce Lee knew every muscle twitch of one of his kicks. Whether you know it or believe it, you're a born leader. Every staff member here has seen it in you. Some of that is because you're able to move quickly through things, and sometimes when things get hard, you're able to stop, take a breath, and get control. Keep carrying both of those things with you. There are times when you and others will need you to speed, and times when they will need you to speed with purpose. And so, Dylan, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. Everyone, I'd like to introduce you to our next graduate, and that is Oliver Leary. Oliver, please join me on stage. Oliver. A lot of people like to point out that how there are always 2 kinds of people in the world. I don't usually put a lot of stock into that, but since we both have this huge love of the mountains, I think it's safe to say that there are 2 kinds of hikers on a trail. Those who like going up and those who like going down. Up hikers love the work. They love finding the right footholds. They like the push. They like the way sweat drips. They like breaking through tree lines or hitting a summit and seeing the ranges and valleys below. It's a really good reminder of just how big the world is. I think we're both up hikers. Whether it was pushing your way through a class, fitting in school, an internship, and ski team, and a job, and starting the next hiking club, you have shown time and time again that you are not afraid of hard work and a little sweat. And this is a breaking through the trees moment for you. And there's a lot of trail left for you to climb. But take a moment, have a snack, probably the brie and salami that you would always bring for everybody. And look at how high you've already climbed. As you know, things get harder above the tree line, but they get infinitely better too. And so, Oliver, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. And I would now like to introduce everyone to our next presenter, Emily Whalen.
Good morning. I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Kaylee Guerin. Kaylee, please join me on stage. Hi, Kaylee. Kaylee Kaylee Guerin, you will always hold a special place in my heart for many reasons, most of which is, I told you the other day, you are the first student to ever want to become a science teacher. Now, I know you may change your mind along the way. Selfishly, I hope you don't, because then you can come back and teach it next, and I can finally go sail around the world. Whatever you decide to do, there are two characteristics that you have that are going to greatly help you along the way. The first is you have an unflappable sense of optimism. No matter how hard things get or how tough the path is, you always have a belief that everything is going to be okay in the end. And here's a little secret. Just believing that is going to help things be okay in the end. The second is that you have an incredible ability to keep on smiling no matter what. Of course, you smile when things are fun and things are easy and you're feeling good, but you also smile when you're frustrated. You can keep on smiling when you're tired. You can keep smiling when you're angry. And even when you're impatient, like maybe right now, when all you want is your high school diploma, but Waylon won't stop talking. See, it's working, you're smiling. Kaylee, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Now, I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Jack Keevers. Jack, please join me on stage. Oh boy, Jack. A couple of months ago, you and I were FaceTiming, and you said to me, so graduation's gonna be canceled, right? And I said, gee, Jack, I really don't know. And you said, if it is, I probably won't go. I'll probably be working. So thanks for showing up. I'm glad you could make it. When you said that to me, I said, Jack, graduation isn't about you. It's about your friends and your family and the people who want to celebrate your accomplishment. So since I know you don't care about this, I hope you don't mind if I talk to them for a second. So Jonathan and Shauna, I want to tell you some of the things that we've observed about Jack in his time at Next. Your son, Jack, is incredibly kind. He welcomes new students to Next and makes them feel like a part of the community. Your son, Jack, is a great listener. He takes feedback seriously and he uses it to improve himself and to become a better Jack. Your son, Jack, makes mistakes sometimes, but he owns up to them and he works really hard to make them right. Your son, Jack, is almost a high school graduate, but not quite, so let's take care of that right now. Jack, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. I would now like to introduce you to our next presenter, Andrew Bankston.
I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Natalie Court. Natalie, please join us on stage. Hey, Natalie. Natalie, I'm so glad you're able to make it back here today to be part of this. I was worried a little bit that you weren't going to make it, but I'm psyched you're here. In the last couple of years, I've noticed a few things about you that I'd like to share, if that's okay. Natalie, you're one of the most authentic people I know. You never hide behind anything or try to be anything you're not. You're Natalie Court, and you're great, so you don't need to be anything else. I also noticed that while you may be fairly quiet in whole group situations, you're not disengaged. You're a very observant person. You tend to notice everything, but not necessarily react to everything. I know that you want to go into the law enforcement field, and that's something that you're going to use every day of your life. Natalie, as you enter Weber State, reach out, join groups and clubs, expand your world a little bit. People are going to be very happy to have you in their circle because, after all, you're Natalie Court, and you're great. Natalie, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. I would like to introduce our next graduate, Kyle Joseph Regan. Kyle, please join us on stage. Hey, Kyle. I love your shoes. Kyle, I want you to think back over the last 4 years. Think about how you've changed, how you've grown. You're willing to try new things. You're much more outgoing than you used to be. And although I find this hard to believe considering the Cape Cod trip, I believe you've found an affinity for camping. Kyle, I believe that Next was a good choice for you. The smaller environment made you feel more comfortable. You were able to develop better relationships with your teachers. But you were good for Next as well. You volunteered for things, but more than that, you've got this quiet leadership quality that comes out sometimes. You might speak up during a group meeting or during group work. I really like seeing that in you, so keep working on that. One thing that I want you to continue after you graduate is to keep reaching outside your comfort zone. Volunteer for things, get involved with groups on Snooze Campus, go for hikes, maybe get a bike. Just keep putting yourself out there. Before you know it, you just might be an extrovert, but you don't have to be. Kyle, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. I would now like to introduce you to our next presenter, Carrie Lynn LaFlamme.
I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Seth St. Hilaire. Seth, please join me on stage. Seth, I feel honored to be the one up here today to give your speech. I have had the pleasure of being a part of the village that has rallied around you to make this day a reality. Ms. Smith has guided you through writing and editing and has taught you how to master a pair of scissors and a glue stick. While Mr. Maloro has given you kind words and encouragement, and while I have given you candy. But more importantly, it is what you have given to us, laughter, kindness, and appreciation for why we became teachers, and lastly, hope. Many times I have started a sentence with, I hope Seth. I hope Seth finishes his project. I hope Seth can get that magnet off my ceiling. I hope Seth graduates. So, believe in hope. This last week, we watched you present your exhibition in your capstone defense. You were able to let your personality shine during both of these presentations. You talked about you as a learner and recognized your strengths and weaknesses. You expressed your passion for music and the drums. You shared with us what you learned at your internship, but the biggest takeaway from both your presentations was how kind you are. You were kind when you mentioned that without Ms. Smith's help, you might not have finished your exhibition. You were kind when you talked about your parents teaching you about treating others the way you wanted to be treated. And you were kind when you shared how nice the kitchen staff at Hood was to you during your internship. This is one of your greatest qualities, kindness. Not only are you kind, but you are friendly, personable, polite, and make us all smile. So Seth, enjoy this moment and all those feelings of success bubbling up inside you right now. And remember how this feels. So when you are working hard to reach your next goal, let these feelings of success help guide you. Seth, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations. I would now like to introduce you to our next presenter, Liz Verity.
And I would like to introduce you to our next graduate, Darlin Sampson. Can you please join me on stage? Hey, Darlin, we're here. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about our school's logo, or mascot, as some people here like to call it, the door. Hundreds of times over your last 4 years, you've walked through the doors at your house, through the doors at Pinkerton, and through the doors at Next. You've found doors that have led you to jobs, a capstone site, the gym, volunteering, the library, and many more places. Every time you enter a door, a new experience or opportunity unfolds. You and I have passed through many doorways together and uncovered new choices for you to be making. You have found new doors on your own and have made tough decisions about which doors to enter, which to leave, and which to explore in your future. Darlin, I want you to remember that there are endless doors for you to knock on and start a new journey. If you're ever uncertain about what opportunities exist, consider the doors where you have felt safe and supported. You can always go back to these places to get help mapping out your next plan. Some doors may close behind you, but the door at Next will always be open for you. You have a bright future ahead of you, and we're going to miss you. So it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. I would now like to introduce you to our next presenter, Angela Gleckman.
Good morning. I would like to introduce you to our final graduate, Juliana Stefanelli. Juliana, please join me on stage. Juliana, last but certainly not least. I hear you came to Next 3 years ago shy and unsure. This came as a bit of a surprise to me because for the past 2 years, I've seen a talented, caring, creative, passionate, driven, and confident young woman unfold before me. I had the privilege to witness a defining moment with you when we went to the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston last year. It was your first time there and you were like a kid in a candy store. Especially when you and I went up to the exhibit featuring Frida Kahlo. I immediately noticed the similarities between you and Frida. Like Frida, you are not afraid to step outside the box, express yourself in a positive manner, and you are a spokesperson for women. You promote change and stand up for what you believe in and make a huge impact on whoever knows you. It was inspiring to be surrounded by Frida's artwork, who is an empowering woman, and to watch you, a young empowered woman, be completely enthralled and inspired also. You graduated next in 3 years and became a leader and role model for other students. You have already proven you can do anything you put your mind to. I wish you the best of luck at NHTI next year in achieving your goal to be a dental hygienist in the future. You are going to move mountains and maybe even a few teeth someday. It has been a pleasure to get to know you, and we will miss you very much. As we say at Next, remember as you go throughout your day to try everything and include everyone. Juliana, it is with great pleasure that I present you with this next charter school diploma. Congratulations.
Before I leave, I just want to give to Mr. Crawford a frame from the class of 2020.
I would now like to welcome back to the stage Joe Crawford to say a few final words.
So as I sat here about 7 minutes ago, I remembered I never printed my final speech, but I did write it. So I'm going to pull it up on my phone. It was just a moment of sheer panic when I realized I don't remember printing that. So bear with me as I read small print. Today we have come together to celebrate the achievements of these 17 young people. As a community, this is something we should always take the time and energy to do. A month ago, I wasn't sure how we would do this, or even if we should. But standing up here today and looking out at all the people who have come here to support you reminds me of just how important it is to recognize and celebrate moments like this. We are here today because the community values you. When I say this community, I don't just mean your family and friends. The Derry School District, the Hudson School District, Pinkerton Academy, and the Next Charter School Board of Trustees all see great potential that exists inside each of you, which is why they have supported you and invested in you for many years. Today marks a return on that investment, but it is not the final return. Each of you now has the responsibility to go out and deliver on that investment by being the smart, compassionate, idealistic, skilled, and funny people that you have become. It goes without saying that this has been an unusual school year. I still sometimes catch myself saying things like, we are in uncharted territory here, but those words stopped being meaningful months ago. Although I don't think it is fair that this is how your final year of high school ended, the truth is that life doesn't work that way. Things don't happen according to a predetermined plan. The great educational thinker and speaker, Sir Ken Robinson, once said that one of the biggest mistakes we make when thinking about life is that it is linear. We ask little children what they want to be when they grow up, and we warn 13-year-olds to get their acts together because that behavior won't be acceptable in the workplace. Life, he argues, is organic, not linear. It does not unfold according to a predictable line. We change and adapt to our surroundings because the world is always changing. Perhaps the events of the past several months have taught us something about the need to be ready for whatever comes our way. Okay, I know that the only thing between me and your celebrations with family and friends, between you and your celebrations is me. But I have one more thing to say. And this is for the social studies lovers out there. Cam, I hope you'll appreciate that I did some research here. So you all know that I'm a social studies teacher at heart. And many of you have heard me talk about my favorite president. Does anybody know? Cam, do you know who my favorite president was? That's okay. This isn't a Q&A. I'll just talk. My favorite president was Abraham Lincoln. And there's a ton of great Lincoln quotes, but I want to share one with you today that I think is especially true in this moment. For those of you out there, maybe some adults who forget American history, Lincoln was president during the perhaps most disruptive time in American history, the Civil War. In December of 1862, he said, in speaking to Congress, "The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country." Now, the teacher in me really wants to talk about this quote quite a bit, but I think I will spare you this and just say that I think Lincoln's point still rings true. We must free our minds from the constraints of the past and be willing to see the world for what it is and what it might be. Graduates, you are the present and the future. Your knowledge, your decisions, your character will define what happens to you and many others from this point on. I encourage you to use your powers for good, not evil. And never forget what John Lennon said. Some of you know this is another favorite quote of mine. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Plans are great, but make sure you relish the moment. I can't wait to talk with each of you in the future so I can learn about the interesting lives you'll be living. And we will definitely be able to reminisce about the crazy end to the 2020 school year. Congratulations, the 5th graduating class of Next Charter School. I'm so excited for you. I'm going to say one more thing to our guests out there before I dismiss you. So in a few moments, our graduates will leave the front of the stage together just as they arrived. But this time, they leave as high school graduates and Next Charter School alumni. After they leave, they will be followed by the next staff. And once the graduates and staff have left, we ask that families pack up their belongings and enter their vehicles. If a graduate's riding home with you, we will ask them to carefully make their way to your vehicle. If they arrive separately, we will ask them to enter their vehicle and exit the property. We know that this is likely just the first celebration of today, but we please ask you to refrain from taking pictures and connecting with other groups at this time out of respect for the rules put in place by Tupelo Music Hall and in accordance with local, state, and federal guidelines. Okay, enough of that stuff. Graduates, please stand and face the audience. Please move your tassels from right to left. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the 2020 Next Charter School graduating class.